This video is about Ogre, or Christopher Weaver, which is his real name, and Angela. Two completely different stories. I'll start with Ogre. I met Ogre many years ago, over a decade ago. He'd been beaten up by 6 college kids who tried to bash his head in with a rock in Boulder, Colorado. The police wouldn't do anything to help him. My first year passing out blankets down there, it was me, Ogre, and Sage. Ogre started dating a woman named Lexi Delgado. Her street name is Cardboard. They had some kids together. Their first kid, a son, Chris Jr., he died of an infection just a few days after he was born. I was filthy. I was sleeping behind a dumpster. Lexi wanted me to hold Chris, and I didn't want to because I was filthy. She said it's okay. Germs are good for him. It'll help build his immune system. I killed him just by holding him. So, Chris and Cardboard had a second kid, Twilly. That's not her real name, but Ogre had a job and he had a place and he was busting his ass. He was doing real well. He was working hard. But Cardboard, she's mental. She just wanted to be mean and cruel and evil to the man. He didn't deserve it. And yeah, Ogre has got a pretty shitty attitude most of the time. But it's understandable. The shit that he was going through. So when the government decided they were going to steal his kid because of things that he didn't do, I was there for him. Him and Cardboard wasn't even allowed to see Ogre or her daughter because of several situations where she put her daughter in extreme danger. As a result of this, she tried to say some pretty mean things about Ogre. Things that I was there for, and I know Ogre didn't do those things because I was there, and I came forward, and I stuck up for him. They were going to pay me for babysitting because they didn't want the government to take their kid. But they didn't. They didn't pay me. They couldn't, and I just had to understand. But somebody needed to do the right thing because it was the right thing to do. Ogre needed somebody in his fucking corner. So I was, for 2 months, getting treated like shit by Ogre because he's fucking stressed out. And I just took it. I understood that it wasn't towards me. He was just stressed the fuck out. He was going to all these meetings and all these appointments that were required of him. He lost his job over it. He lost his housing over it. That battle finally ended. Here's how it ended. Danny, he asked me if I had any weed to smoke with him. He said he was trying not to relapse. He just wanted to smoke a bowl of weed. So, I didn't have any, and I told him I didn't have any. And so, me and Ogre, we went back up to the apartment, or back up to the hotel he was staying in. I guess Ogre was actually already there. I knocked on the door. He didn't answer. He wanted me to help him move all of his stuff in the morning, but he had somebody there, so he was getting laid. So I went outside and I waited for him. Well, in the morning he was in a pretty shitty mood and he was treating me pretty shitty. We were up by the Boulder shelter. We pushed his stuff all the way down from the Boulder shelter, because that's where the hotel was, right next to it, all the way down to Pearl Street. And I went to Starbucks and I had my first coffee. And I had my first cigarette probably around 6 o'clock. My second cigarette at 7. My third one at 8. My fourth one at 9. Come 10 o'clock, there was too many people to smoke a cigarette in the alley. So I walked back to the back of the pedestrian shop, and that's where I found Danny dead. Tony DeStassi and one of the other employees, her name is Anna, they helped me out a little bit that day. When Mandy Singer's son disappeared, the last person that they knew that he was with was Ogre, so I talked to Ogre after Mandy's son disappeared. I was still trying to find him after Natalie was killed. And there's Angela. I was in Washington State, or in, not Washington State, in Montana. And I found out my older brother was getting married. The woman's name is Angela, which is also my mom's name. And I met her, and I love Angela, you know. She's not a bad person. But she's got a lot of issues, and one of those issues is a drug addiction. Druggies are tough to deal with. They're selfish. So for the last few months, she got a hold of me. The last time we were talking, she was completely trashy to me. And then she blocked me without me having the opportunity or the chance to defend myself. But she was drunk pretty much nonstop at the time. So I had to understand. Well, she sent me a friend request a few months ago. She's been having her own problems with her kid. Her baby's daddy beat the shit out of her. She tried to commit suicide. So for the last few months, I've been texting back and forth with her. But she just can't stay clean. She can't remember things from 20 minutes ago. So she relapsed. She does it often. And she tried playing it off like it was from her prescriptions. But when she was describing what was going on, I already knew what was going on. She overamped on methamphetamines. And I tried to be supportive. I tried to be understanding. She snapped at me about 5 or 6 times in the last couple of months. But I didn't throw her away. I stuck with her. She kept offering to do things that she didn't do. And I gotta understand, because she's got a kid. Unlike Ogre, she's got her kid with her. Ogre should have his kid with him. That would help to improve his attitude a bit. So Angela, the other night, she's telling me she's going to send me a phone card, which is fine, you know. That's not a mean thing, and that is actual help. But she was typing pretty words at me. And I can't fucking deal with being rapid fire texted at. I can't read that while I'm busy typing. And I'm trying to type to a reply to something that she texted 5 minutes ago still. So I asked her to stop typing at me. Please, just stop. So she lets me know that her kid is sick, right? She tells me that he's got a temperature of 110, so I told her to take him to the hospital. you start getting brain damage at a temperature of 104 to 106, depending on your age. So she did take him to the hospital. Yesterday, I was able to read all of the stuff that she typed, which I couldn't before. I tried explaining to her that, but she wanted to be a fucking bitch about it. So yesterday, I was finally able to read it. Not while I'm having a severe fucking panic attack. I'm having panic attacks non-stop. But not all of them are so severe that I want to blow my goddamn head off. But she didn't bother to reply yesterday. She did the same thing that she did the other 2 times where she said she would help. She ignored me and then she treated me like shit. And then she's like, my kid's dying. Well, if that's how it is, I feel bad for that kid because both of his parents are on drugs. I know what it's like to have both of my parents on drugs. So does Natalie. So Angela, instead of talking to me one-on-one, she wants to get on this morning and treat me like shit. So I treated her like shit back. See, there's a big difference between actual help and pretty fucking words. Those of you assholes who say that if I pretend to be happy, that things will get better. No, that's not how the fuck it works. I was good to everyone until I couldn't. I couldn't. I'm not allowed. If I talk sweet and nice to you, you fucking ignore me. Or you type pretty fucking words. I don't need pretty fucking words. I need my name cleared or my life to be over. I need an honest day in court to show the courts what the fuck has been going on. But nobody gives a fuck. You're just pretty words. You guys have any idea how fucked up it was that I had to go to my dad for help? I already know my dad's not going to help. He's a fucking piece of shit and he's selfish. He cares about things. After the shit that I've been through, he's telling me I just need to get over it. Meanwhile, I make one little post about him going to prison for cocaine, and he fucking flips his lid. Pot calling the kettle black, ain't it? I like Angela. I do. I like Ogre. There's a big difference between helping somebody out and talking shit. There's a big difference between caring and pretending to. I actually care about these people. They just pretend to care about me. I spent 2 months of my life jumping through hoops with Ogre so that he could keep his daughter. And after all the hoop jumping, he lost his daughter. Do you know why? Because he couldn't go to work and go to all the appointments that they required of him. He couldn't afford all of the shit that they were charging him money for. And he wouldn't get an honest day in court. They wouldn't allow it. Ogre's not the bad guy. Angela's not the bad guy. Neither am I. But the difference between them and I is that I made an effort to understand and an effort to help how they needed. They made no effort to understand me or the help that I needed. I don't need pretty words. I need my life to be over. I live in a world where the selfish people are rewarded and good people get fucking kicked. Notre Dame burnt down. That's a good thing. I wish we could get rid of all the churches. Jesus didn't preach at the synagogue. He preached outside. He spoke to the common people. He also dined with the rich. I love Ogre and I love Angela. But their assumptions are shitty. Angela freaks out after one day of not having her son. She goes straight for the bottle. Straight for the pipe. I've been separated from my loved ones for years now. Separated from happiness, from smiles, from laughter. And I'm supposed to just get over it because Angela says so. Meanwhile, one day without her son, she goes right back for the meth pipe. As far as Ogre goes, he could have helped. He's been through this shit too, and he could have made a statement about it, but he wouldn't. He wanted me to write everything out, and then he would sign it. I am overwhelmed with all of this shit that I need to get done without the fucking resources to do it. This is exactly why assisted suicide should be legal. I needed someone like me. So did Natalie. When Ogre needed somebody like me, I showed up. When Natalie needed someone like me, I showed up. Both of them asked me to. And I showed up. I asked Ogre to write a statement. He was too fucking lazy. I asked Natalie to call off the dogs. She was too fucking selfish. Now these people want to tell me that I need to be happy all the fucking time. You know what? I was positive for 10 fucking years. Doing my best. While people with shitty fucking attitudes like Angela and Ogre fucking drained me for every fucking thing that I got. Thank goodness for the people at Starbucks, they were positive. I had a positive environment and a safe place to go. But people don't want to understand. They want to punish people who are different. And in some cases, punish people who are the same. So I got a lady here in Cheyenne. She knows me. She's known me over 20 years. And she's depressed. No matter what she does, her husband isn't happy with her. So that makes her want to drink. And then he treats me like shit for that, even though he drinks too. She needs a friend, but he doesn't want her to have a friend. He gets angry with her for having a friend. So although she offered to help, she can't. She'd get in trouble with her husband.